What's up, guys? We are what we repeatedly do. So, excellence then is not an act, but a habit. That's an Aristotle quote, and I think it really nicely sums up survival and homesteading. It's all about habits, routines, and organization. The Greeks knew of this connection. I know if you've been watching me for any length of time, we talk about how economy and ecology share the same root. That's the Greek oikos for home. So if we look at those two words, the nominee, right, the economy, right, the nominee part is the laws governing the home. Lology, as in like ecology, is like the study of. So we're really blending those economy and ecology. It's not big heroic moments of like I have made fire, like in Castaway. It's the little moments that build on small, consistent habits that lead to the giant results. If we think about the gym, how do we grow stronger? It's by progressively overloading ourselves, doing a little bit more than we did the last time that we were in the gym, consistently pushing limits and growing stronger while eating more, and diet is a part of that too. But it's about like consistency, being in the gym, lifting a little more than we did the other day. And it's really like it, dude, it hits so close to that Robert Collier quote of like success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Like the biggest bodybuilders of the world, if you study them, like the Chris Bumstead, the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, the Mike Metzers, like the big names in the industry, the Jay Cutlers, they're talking about like 80-90% of their work is diet, and diet you have to do day in day out, day in day out. So meal prepping and portion control, that's how we're like that homeostasis inside our bodies. It goes back to that economy, and then like the ecology route where we're putting the food in that we grow from the landscape. But the master has failed more times than the amateur has even tried. The little steps will bring us big results. But if we're thinking we're going to go out there and be survival experts day one, you're just not. And it's the same with like homesteading. Every day you have to get up, make sure the animals are fed or moved to a different pasture. You have to check the water. Unless we're living in this like hunter-gatherer society where we're just going out and hunting, and even then, the small steps lead up to the big wins, by going out there, having like super tuned in awareness and developing the skill sets for like tracking and trapping, and so that we can hunt that game. We're not just gonna go out there and be, expert hunters. We have to learn those skills, and that comes from like small, repeatable habits that will affect our survival positively. You'll never change your life until you start doing something daily. And so the days on the farm here, we go out, we feed the animals, and then we meet up with the guys. I say we're putting out fires, and we're really just focusing on the largest fire or the most pressing issue, and that builds resilience for problem solving skills. It's like what if we're talking about your life and like growing and being a better person than you were the day before, like Jordan Peterson says, like make your damn bed, right? Start with the small things and knock them out, but and then that eventually leads up to like the big problems. But the small problems for us are like feeding the animals, making sure that's done. Then we can move on to the big stuff of like putting in fence and developing pasture systems and cutting firewood and bringing things to market. But all of that is like daily routines. And if we're talking specifically about survival and doing survival evolutions, efficiency becomes really, really important in those daily routines. I had a mentor, Paul Rafel. He says, if you're going to build a fire, collect firewood along the way. So when I'm building a fire in the house, as temperatures are getting a little bit colder, I know I'm going to have to relight fires in the future. So as I put logs into the fire, I'm pulling off the little hairs or the smaller fibers to use as kindling for the next fire. It's the same as that possum mentality that we talk about all the time, which is when you see something that's of value, you take it and you put it in your pouch, and you might be able to use it later on. So the efficiency directly leads to the effectiveness of your routines. We talk about active and passive systems in our survival essentials workshop, but do we want to be out there hunting, or do we want to be setting out like trap lines that can kind of do the hunting for us? If we think about calories in and calories out, what is our expenditure to bring the most into us? And that goes with like business too. Should we be focused on these like very lofty ideals, or should we go out there and get the dollar that we can easily? 80-20 rule. 80% of your profits come from 20% of your efforts. So where do we focus that? We need to focus, have extreme focus on the things that are going to bring things into our economy, whether that's like a caloric economy or whether that's like dollar bill measured economy. So like the efficiency of your daily routine. Are you going to get up, start purifying your water, check your trap lines in the morning, create more traps? And everybody that I've talked to that has spent multiple years out in the wilderness doing like the real survival thing, they've said that the end of the day comes down to two things. They are making rope and repairing their shoes. So like if you get in that routine, and even with the maintenance of equipment or the repairing of your shoes, like if we do it as a routine, we don't have to come back and then like do a massive overhaul to the equipment because we didn't change the oil, or we didn't take care of the tracks, or didn't even grease the machine. We don't have to taste bearings, but like that directly speaks to the survivability and having to maintain your equipment and your shoes or make rope, and be doing the same thing every day. So often in like shows like Alone, we see people want that big game, and that's great, but they're this aspirational big game doesn't come about as easily as the making traps and getting the small game repeatedly. It comes back to the economy and the ecology. If we can't deplete the ecosystem around us and expect it to take care of us, whether that's collecting debris for a debris hut, processing firewood, animals, water. Like if we pump water out of the aquifer, if we pump oil out of the oil well, ultimately it leaves a ecological debt that we talk about. And that's why having like regenerative design and regenerative agriculture practices, we're not taking too much from the soils, and we're not taking too much from the wildlife. When we harvest plants, we want that third rule. We're only taking 30% of what's available to us. That leaves some for us to come back later. That leaves some for the animals. That leaves some for the next person to come through. And we know that like we're always leaving a little bit of resources there. And all of that's habits. We can either come in and like rape and pillage stuff, or we can develop habits that allow us to move from that prepping to production pipeline that we talk about all the time. And it's all about starting small. If you watched the video the other day, the one post at a time concept, begin with simple habits and let them evolve into big ones. Whether you start like raise beds in your backyard, or get chickens, or start with like rabbits, and then before you move up to cows, that quote, the journey of 1,000 miles begins one step. And that's not Vanessa Carlton, that's somebody else, but it's small efforts lead to huge successes. So keep that in mind. And your homework for today is to think of small habits that you can immediately implement to create meaningful change over time. If you want to change the world, start by making your bed, Jordan Peterson. And the small habits create that large change, that when we look back in time, 1% better every day creates a totally different us for us to look back on in the future. While you're doing all this, journal so you can remember where you came from. But what's one habit that you can build today that your future self will thank you for? Bring that awareness into yourself, create the habits, and build abundance for yourself, your family, and your community. That's what we're talking about all the time at sustainablehomestead.com. I know that if you have made it this far, you have a passion for life and are serious about surviving whatever the universe throws at you. Drop a like, subscribe to this channel so you never miss information. But ultimately, again, sustainablehomestead.com is the place to go. Join us for our Wednesday night homestead mastermind, where ranchers, farmers, self-reliance experts, bushcrafters, ranchers, did I say that? Project managers, all these people are come together to talk about specific topics that you can immediately implement to create a more efficient ecosystem for yourself and hopefully affect the economy of yourself, your family, and your community. It's all about leaving it better than we found it. But if you want the real download of information, you can come visit us in person for a class. Either book your own private adventure or sign up and check out our calendar of classes that we offer to the public. We will literally shave decades off the time it will take you to learn this stuff on your own, and that's what it's about, is getting you back to the landscape more efficiently, faster, better, and ultimately with more money in your pocket than it took us to learn these lessons over like 20 years of studying this stuff. So, sustainablehomestead.com, again, thanks for watching, and remember, preparedness today means peace of mind tomorrow. See you in the future.